What's going on, rope breakers and WWE fans around the world? I'm Aussie. Welcome back to the Sharpshoot with Aussie. And you might notice this week we're not live. Well, guess what? We're back to our pre-recorded format, which means good things for you guys, because now we're returning to our roots. All of your favorite old segments, like It's True, How Do You Like Me Now, and of course, the Sharpshoot are returning on this episode with the addition of a couple new segments as well. But we start the show with news and rumors, as always. And news this week coming out of WWE camp is that Kalisto may be having a new gimmick upon his arrival to the main roster. Now, Mets fan Forever, I believe it is, on Reddit, came out, and he's a verified WWE source, came out on Reddit and said something to the effect that Kalisto has been tried out for a new gimmick on the main roster, which would consist of being a gay hairdresser. Now, it's 2015. I have nothing wrong with homosexuals, gays, whatever you want to say. It's not a big deal to me. It doesn't matter as long as it doesn't involve me. It's not my business. I just don't understand how this is going to work and what really the thinking is going on here behind the scenes. Kalisto was rumored for a while to be coming up and possibly taking Rey Mysterio's spot on the roster as the only masked luchador there. We've seen Sin Cara here and there on the main roster lately. But it's clear that Sin Cara is not that next guy, that next level talent, although he is good in the ring under his current carnation, not the original Sin Cara. But I'm just confused here. I don't really understand what the thinking is. Like I said, Kalisto, gay hairdresser, I think they ought to leave him in that luchador gimmick. And I don't see why they couldn't have brought him up to the main roster and eased him in with Sin Cara and had them become a part of the tag team division. Listen, even with the addition of the Ascension, the tag team division is still slacking and could still use a couple teams, especially with what looks like to be a couple of tag teams being dismembered, if you will, with Miz and Mizdow and the Dust Brothers. So that remains to be seen there. Now, we've heard rumors like this in the past, and they haven't necessarily come to fruition. We've heard about Adrian Neville and his potential Mighty Mouse gimmick, so I'm not necessarily going to jump right on the bandwagon and jump down WWE's throat until I see something from them. But in the meantime, I hope this does not happen. Interested, as always, to see what you guys have to say about it, so comment below here. And also tweet us at Rope Break Wrestling. Let us know what you think about Kalisto possibly becoming a gay hairdresser on the main roster. Another rumor up on RopeBreakWrestling.com this week is that of NXT talent joining this season of Tough Enough that's upcoming on the USA Network. Now, rumors have it that all the tryouts that go on at the Performance Center from now until the show starts are being looked at by both USA officials and WWE officials. It appears that NXT has first dibs on any talent that they see, that they like, that they want to bring to their roster, and then USA Network will have be able to handpick from there. It also appears that some of the NXT talent that has not been utilized on television yet will be set to appear on Tough Enough this season. I think that's awesome. I think it's good to potentially have some people that are already pre-groomed to be joining the show rather than just having a bunch of jabronis off the street. We saw in the original season of Tough Enough, which is available on the WWE Network now, that a lot of people that came right off the street, they weren't necessarily aware of what they were in for. And some of those people just dropped out immediately. I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case with this new season, this upcoming season of Tough Enough. So I hope that some of those guys and gals that are going to be on the show are ready to go after, and we see a really good competition. I'm really looking forward to the show. I have been since they originally announced it to be a WWE Network exclusive back when the network first debuted last year. But I'm still excited to see it on the USA Network nevertheless. It'll be cool to see some NXT guys on there. Hopefully some people that we know about that just haven't debuted on TV. What I would really like to see is some NXT talent that has not gotten a chance at all. So yeah, those people that haven't debuted on TV, but maybe some people that they released. More big news this week. The WWE Universe absolutely shaken to the core. Okay, so it didn't happen. What happened on Monday Night Raw with the big announcement that was supposed to shake the very core of the WWE Universe? A lot of people not happy with the announcement, thought it didn't make sense, and I can't necessarily disagree. But I will say one thing. I think that the announcement was planned as it was all along since last week. I think they were planning to have Daniel Bryan come out and have all that stuff happen organically. And because of the Raw cancellation due to that snowstorm, they were forced to package it as an announcement, an inorganic thing that was advertised and hyped up. Therefore, it was nowhere near as important or as meaningful as it could have been. Had all of that happened with Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins on Raw the night after the Royal Rumble organically, it would have made much more sense, and it would have shaken the very core of the WWE Universe. But when you package it and advertise it for a week, people are really excited to see what may or may not happen, and then it comes up short. I see why people are upset. I see why people think it doesn't make sense. Just keep in mind that the snowstorm really messed stuff up. I think they should have done all of that on SmackDown, and they, you know what I mean? It still would have been the same payoff. I think that too often WWE officials think that there's not enough eyes on SmackDown, so they can't do anything important on SmackDown. It must be saved for Raw. I understand that, just being that it's a 3-hour show. However, SmackDown needs to be marketed as an important show as well, and that announcement or all that happening organically on last week's SmackDown would have made a lot of sense, and it would have gotten eyes to return to SmackDown tonight, this Thursday. So I guess the advice I have going forward there is that when something like that happens, it either needs to be rewritten or it needs to just be flown out there immediately, whether it be on SmackDown or wherever. So in the future, hopefully we see, hopefully something like that isn't as hyped up and that people get let down. Although a lot of people on social media were expecting to be let down, and a lot of people were. However, still intriguing storylines going on there. So at least there's some kind of story build that we've got. And that's going to actually lead in to our new segment here. The Real MVP segment I'm excited to roll out just because now that we are airing before SmackDown, every single week I'm going to give you my MVP of the past Monday Night Raw. And this week, the inaugural MVP, it wouldn't be right for me not to give it to this guy because he deserves it. He's got it on back order ever since Money in the Bank. Even before that, honestly, it's Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has been the MVP of the WWE ever since the Shield broke up. It's plain to see. It's easy to tell. And a lot of people are saying, hey, the only reason that is because he's getting that push. If it was Dean Ambrose that was getting the same push, if he was the chosen one for Triple H, people would be saying just the same about him. Now, listen, I've got nothing against Dean Ambrose. I think Ambrose is great. He's got great upside. He's got great potential. I think Seth Rollins is by far the best complete package out of the Shield right now. Now, you might say that Ambrose could be better than Rollins on the mic, and I'm not necessarily going to disagree with that or argue that fact. I will, however, say there's no denying that Seth Rollins is by far the best in-ring technical talent out of the three. I know Dean Ambrose has got a quirky style, and he can probably do more than what he shows in the ring, but that doesn't matter. Seth Rollins is the real deal in the ring, a guy that every time he's in the ring, you're glued to the match, you have to see what's going to happen, and he's been putting on A-plus matches ever since he broke up with the Shield. So Seth Rollins, he continued it this past Monday night on Raw, continuing to get better on the mic, rolling out excellent matches on Monday Night Raw, a great main event there with Daniel Bryan, and I'll tell you what, Seth Rollins, you the real MVP. Moving forward with the traditional segments of the show, we've got it back. It's true. It's one of my favorite segments. It's one of your favorite segments. If you've never seen the show, it's about to become one of your favorite segments. It's true. And this week I want to talk about the WrestleMania 31 card. Listen to this. A lot of people are upset. Think WrestleMania 31 could be a bust. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Nobody wants to see it, right? Wait just a minute. I'll tell you what. This card is really shaping up to be potentially an amazing WrestleMania card. And if you take out that Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns match, you're looking at potentially one of the best cards in recent memory. Let me just rattle off a couple matches for you here without even saying that they're definitely going to be on WrestleMania card or what. These are just some potential matches that have the seeds sown that could be seen at WrestleMania right now. You've got The Miz versus Mizdow or Damian Sandow. You've got Cody Rhodes, a.k.a. Stardust, versus Goldust. You've got Cena versus Rusev, Rollins versus Orton, Bryan versus Ziggler, Triple H versus Sting, Taker versus Wyatt, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. You've got all those matches lined up there. You got Wade Barrett versus Dean Ambrose as a potential match there. You got all those matches there, and then we're supposed to still see a Battle Royale and a Divas match, and probably something from the NXT lineup. Whether or not they're in the Battle Royale, that remains to be seen. But either way, a potentially stacked card. I think some of these matches that I just proposed are going to be left off the card here. I did a little bit of a mock-up, assuming that we give certain matches a certain amount of time here. There's definitely not room for every single match. Because we know they don't like to tighten it up this big. Let me just rattle off some of the times that I've got for some of these matches here. I've got Miz and Mizdow. You could potentially give that match 10 minutes. Cody and Goldie. You can give that match 10 minutes. So now we're up to 20. Bryan and Ziggler, another 20-minute match. So we're up to 40. Cena and Rusev, another 20-minute match. And you might be saying, oh, this doesn't need 20, this doesn't need 20. WWE always likes to pad, give each match a little bit more originally before, just in case something goes overtime. Then they end up shrinking down, and they've got a little bit to compensate. They won't throw an extra match in there unless they need to fill time. But you've got, so we're up to an hour already. Then you got Barrett and Ambrose, give them 15 minutes. Rollins and Orton, you got to give that match a half an hour. In my opinion. Triple H versus Sting, you've got to give at least 25 minutes. Taker and Wyatt, another 25 to 30. Reigns and Lesnar's got to be a half an hour, and at that point you're already at the full 3 hours, so that would leave out the Battle Royale, the Nikki Bella title match, should she retain, and then a potential NXT match. So it's interesting to see, what could happen here. But my point of this entire segment, and I'm interested to know what you guys think, is that Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns isn't necessarily going to ruin WrestleMania if you don't want to see it, especially with Paul Heyman thrown in there. I think this match could be very interesting. I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Do I think Roman Reigns is the number one fit there for the main event? Absolutely not. But it is what it is, and that's what's going to happen. So we've got to deal with it. We got to push forward. We got to look at the potential bright spots for WrestleMania 31. And there's no denying that WrestleMania 31, if any of those and all those matches are to make the card, it's going to be a damn good show. It's true.
It's damn true.
Before we break into the mailbox, I want to ask you guys for your help. In order to keep the Sharpshoot going and in order to keep other shows like React and Before the Bell going, we need your help. Right now, if you log on to patreon.com/ropebreak, you can help us out with any donation that you see fit or that you can give to us. $1 a month, whatever. Any little bit helps. And what it's also going to help is us helping you. You know those giveaways that we do? The past pay-per-view at Royal Rumble, we gave away something like 3 DVDs, 2 ProWrestlingTees.com t-shirts, a Daniel Bryan action figure, a Daniel Bryan foam figure. We give away tons of stuff, and we love doing that for you guys. Unfortunately, it comes out of our pocket, and we can't afford to keep doing it without your help. So with $1 here, $1 there, a little bit of donations, or whatever that you can help us out with, you can continue those giveaways and make sure that your name is in the pool for those giveaways. And maybe with your help, we can make those giveaways even bigger, even better. We love to give away stuff to you guys. We really appreciate the support you've given us over the past year, and we look forward to getting your help this upcoming year. So once again, that's patreon.com/ropebreak. Check it out. Do what you can. If you can't donate, maybe share the page and let somebody else who might be able to donate, let them know. Now it's time. It's mail time. Here's the mail. It never fails. Unfortunately, I don't have a tail to wag. But mail time, and you're asking yourself, how do I submit a question? How do I get my question on the Sharpshoot? The answer is easy. We have our own ask.fm page now. It's ask.fm/ropebreakwrestling. Go on there any time of the week. Ask us a question. If it's specifically one that you want to be answered on the Sharpshoot or on React, say so, and we'll answer it on the show. This week, I've handpicked 3 questions for the show, and they're good ones. And, as long as it's WWE related, we're going to talk about it on the show. So, question number 1, how will Randy Orton be remembered 10 years after he retires? Excellent question to whoever submitted it on our ask.fm page. I think Randy Orton is harshly underappreciated by the IWC and or the WWE universe as a whole. I think when Randy Orton is gone for good, a lot of people are going to miss him. I think over the past so many years, he's been a pivotal part of WWE programming, and I think that without Randy Orton, John Cena is not at the level that he is, and maybe WWE isn't at the level that they are as a whole right now. Randy Orton has provided great heel work for the likes of Triple H, for John Cena, for plenty of other faces, new and old. He's just been an excellent constant in the WWE. Sure, he's done some things outside of the ring that may not be, best for business, so to speak. But with that being said, Randy Orton, definitely a constant, definitely a surefire Hall of Famer, one of the all-time great talents in WWE history. Excellent on the mic. Sure, he forgets his lines once in a while, but when he comes to play with a promo, it's from the heart, it's organic, it's believable, and he's an excellent in-ring talent. There's no denying it, and I hope that a potential match between he and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania could steal the show. So definitely look out for that. Randy Orton, at least on my side, after he retires 10 years from now, I'm going to still be looking at him as one of the all-time greatest superstars in WWE history. Interesting question. I dig it. If you've got an answer that differs from mine, comment below. Let me know you think I'm wrong. Or tweet us at RopeBreakWrestling. Next question. Since Barrett and Ambrose is a thing, do you see them fighting for the IC title at WrestleMania? I definitely see that happening. Usually when we see a feud start around this time of the year, it's not something that is a one pay-per-view feud. We usually see, unless it's a transitional feud that helps another feud start, we usually see the feuds that start now go right into WrestleMania. I think Wade Barrett or Bad News Barrett versus Dean Ambrose has the potential to be excellent. Both guys kind of hit their peak there for a while and then dropped off. Barrett because of the injury and Ambrose due to bad booking. I think that this feud could help kickstart them both back on their road to becoming top guys. I think both of these guys have excellent talent, excellent upside, excellent potential. They have the potential to be really big superstars in the future. The question is, how do they book this feud? I think that Barrett holds the title until WrestleMania, and then maybe we get Ambrose to take that title back. But in the meantime, I really like this feud. It gets heel heat for Wade Barrett, who has been cheered as a heel in the past, and I think it'll be able to build Dean Ambrose going forward. So I really like that feud, and yes, I do think that feud lasts until WrestleMania. Final question. If you were in control of the Cena-Rusev feud, would you have the balls to give Cena the belt? No. It's not that I wouldn't have the balls. It just doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to give either of these guys any straps. I don't even think that the U.S. title is necessary in this feud, although it's going to be in this feud. I don't think that it'll be over the belt. However, I do have a proposal for this feud, something that would work much better than any title, and that is Hulk Hogan. And immediately people are rolling their eyes, groaning, saying Hulk Hogan doesn't belong anywhere near a feud like this. Wait a minute. I'm not saying that Hulk Hogan's going to get in there, drop the leg on both guys, and become the U.S. champion. What I am saying is that Hulk Hogan has been clamoring for one more WWE run or one more WWE match. Here's my proposal. Hogan, maybe in the next couple of weeks, he gets involved in the storyline with John Cena and Rusev. Maybe he's behind John Cena, patting his back, telling him, you've got to win this one, brother. Look at what he's done. Look at what Rusev has done over the past couple of months to this main roster, to the United States as a whole. Got to get that title back, brother. Got to do something. and maybe Hulk Hogan's in John Cena's corner at Fastlane. What happens? Rusev gets Cena in the accolade, just as you think Cena might be able to get out of the accolade. Hogan steps in and maybe kicks Rusev, lays a boot on him, does whatever, and then after that we see a little bit of tension between Hogan and Cena. Hey, Hogan, Hulk, I could have done it myself, man. I appreciate you being there, but next time let me do what I got to do. Then, in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, maybe you've got Hogan and Cena, again, building tension. Anything you can do, I can do better. You couldn't beat Rusev, I can, brother. This and that. And then, WrestleMania, you've got a triple threat match. I said it. I've got Hulk Hogan back in the ring. Now, the reason I say this is because if he wants one more match, he's likely going to get it. And I like it in a protected environment that is a triple threat match with John Cena at the helm. It's not a head-to-head, superstar versus superstar, Cena versus Hogan match. It's a triple threat match with Rusev, and it's the potential to add a good story here. Which of the two guys is really better? Anything you can do, I can do better, like I said. They're both going after Rusev. They're both breaking up each other's pins over Rusev. They both have the chance to become the first guy to pin Rusev. And like I said, they keep breaking each other up. What happens? Eventually, Rusev ends up beating them both, and tension continues to build until maybe Hogan has one more final match at a SummerSlam or maybe next year at WrestleMania with John Cena. We'll see. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm saying that's what I could see happening. That would make this feud big time. A lot of people would be really interested in seeing that. I know a lot of the IWC wants no part of Hulk Hogan and his raw meat abs back in the ring, but It's a potential fantasy booking idea that I have out there. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, or obviously, like I've said about 20 times in the show, tweet us at Rope Break Wrestling. Now, once again, you can submit your questions for next week's show by going to our ask.fm page, which is ask.fm/ropebreakwrestling. You can ask questions all week long. I'm answering questions all week long there to you guys. And if, like I said, if you want it to be answered specifically on the Sharpshoot or maybe on Alex's show, React After Raw, or maybe with Matt on Before the Bell, let us know and we will make sure that you get your voice heard on our show. Feel free to leave your name as well and we'll give you that shout out. We've said it a couple times on the show this week. We're back to our roots. We're back to the pre-recorded. We're back to everybody's favorite segments. And there's no doubt about it, this next segment is a fan favorite. It's How Do You Like Me Now?
How do you like me now?
How do you like me now? What are we going to talk about this week? Well, it's the number one topic for this week's show. It's what got you to click on the link, and it's why you're here. Is Dolph Ziggler really going to turn heel at Fastlane? I don't know, man, but a lot of people ready to riot across social media saying that Dolph Ziggler does not need to turn heel. Why can't we just have two faces battle at it, shake hands after WrestleMania, and go on their separate ways? I'll tell you why. It just doesn't make sense. I think that's a selfish viewpoint from a lot of IWC and or internet fans, whatever, WWE Universe. Everybody wants to be able to cheer for both Bryan and Ziggler. And you can still do that. Just because a guy is a bad guy or a heel doesn't mean that you're not allowed to cheer for him. I know there's a lot of traditionalists out there that think that way. And there's also a lot of people out there that only cheer for heels. Philly, I'm looking at you. Just because they're the bad guys. I think Dolph Ziggler has the potential to really break out here as a heel. I think he does excellent heel work, and I think that this particular feud with Daniel Bryan can really propel him to a top spot. As to where, as a face, he's really gotten stuck because we've got Roman Reigns, you've got Dean Ambrose, you've got Daniel Bryan, you've got John Cena, all big-time faces. It's kind of a logjam there. Now with heels, Brock Lesnar is going to be potentially leaving the company. So that leaves Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins really as those, and Rusev as the top heels there. I think that Dolph Ziggler can do some excellent heel work and make this feud really interesting. The reason, or the way that it happens, obviously, is that Fastlane, the February pay-per-view, Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. What's going to happen? A lot of people actually are believing that Daniel Bryan might win this match. I don't think that there's any chance in hell that happens. However, I do see Dolph Ziggler making a run-in and screwing Daniel Bryan over. And people are like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Sure it does. Dolph Ziggler has had just as big of a fan following as Daniel Bryan has, arguably, over the past year. He got dumped out of the Royal Rumble match early. He got fired. How come he's not getting the shot at the WrestleMania match like Daniel Bryan is? Maybe a little bit of jealousy plays in there. Two friends, two peers that respect each other now going at it at WrestleMania. Heel versus face makes a little bit more sense than face versus face. I think it's going to help Daniel Bryan as well. More people are going to filter towards Bryan, more of the young kids. And the people that love Ziggler are going to stick with Ziggler. It really doesn't matter in that respect. However, like I said, I do think Dolph Ziggler has the potential to do some excellent heel work, maybe finally get some time on that microphone that he needs. That's still the number one thing that we're not seeing WWE do for Dolph Ziggler is give him microphone time. They've done it on the WWE app in the past. They've done it, here and there in the ring with some meaningless lines. But give Dolph Ziggler that microphone. Let him cut a promo on Daniel Bryan, and you will all change your mind as to whether or not he should be heel. So, with that being said, Dolph Ziggler fans, and those of you that think that Dolph Ziggler should remain a face, how do you like me now?
How do you like me now?
Before we break into this week's Sharpshoot, the final segment of the show, I want to remind you guys that you can follow RopeBreakWrestling.com on all of our social media. Social media accounts? Is that what you want to say? Yeah, social media accounts. Definitely go check us out on Facebook. That is our number one fan following. Over 3,000 likes, pushing closer to 4,000. And you know that every 1,000 mark, we do some pretty badass giveaways. So tell your friends, go like Rope Break Wrestling on Facebook. Over 3,500 strong and growing every single day. And if you already like our Facebook page, how come you haven't followed us on Twitter yet? Don't give me that, I don't have a Twitter excuse. Because guess what? Every single Monday night and every single Thursday night, we're live tweeting Raw and SmackDown. We also give some insight on our Twitter account that we don't do on Facebook. Because let's face it, not everybody wants to see their Facebook feed, bloated and full of wrestling stuff. But Twitter, that's a different story. If you're following us on Twitter, you're going to get the fastest news and rumors and updates immediately to your Twitter notification timeline, whatever you want to call it. And of course, like I said and mentioned in the show earlier, check us out on Patreon. Become patrons, become rope breakers, and donate whatever you can, even if it's $1 a month or $1 this month and not next month, whatever. Every little bit helps, and it's going to make our shows better. If you dig the Sharpshoot, if you dig React After Raw, if you dig Before the Bell, help us out, throw us a bone, and we'll throw you one back with those badass giveaways.
You loved Word Life and the Custom Nucks, then you go win some titles and now Cena sucks? Not me. I'm C-Nation for life. But if John don't marry Nikki, I'm gonna make her my wife.
For those of you that were part of the hashtag cancel WWE network movement after Royal Rumble, I am very, very sorry. Although I do feel that probably half of those people probably signed back up for the WWE network upon finding out about the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast featuring Triple H. The one prior that happened either a month or a couple months ago, I'm not really sure. We'll have to get a fact check on that. Tyson Kidd, you check that out for me? Either way. The one with Vince McMahon was wildly successful. Everybody dug it. It was awesome stuff. Definitely really good behind the scenes. And the best part about it, Stone Cold Steve Austin, never willing to pull a punch. He's always throwing the best questions. And he did the same thing in the interview with Triple H. If you haven't checked it out, definitely worth the $10 to subscribe there. And we're going to have a transcript of some of the most important questions and points from that show up on our website, ropebreakwrestling.com, soon. Now, I want to touch on a couple of points here that Triple H made. Number one, Steve Austin actually had the satchel to ask Triple H about China and if China is ever going to belong or is ever going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, whether or not she belongs. Triple H was definitely uncomfortable, but I gained a ton of respect for Triple H because he answered the question head on, went right into it, and you could tell he was being truthful about it. He says that China, based on her, what she did for the business, she definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. I definitely agree with him on that. And he also made a great point about why she's not in the Hall of Fame and why she's probably not going to be in the Hall of Fame for the foreseeable future. And that's just because of her past in pornography and, other stuff like that. Now, there's been a lot of backlash about that. People saying, oh, well, X-Pac's been on WWE TV, blah, blah, blah. He was part of One Night in China. It's a little bit different. A sex tape is a little bit different than full-blown porn, which China has done. And Triple H said, what happens when my 8-year-old daughter sees that China's going into the Hall of Fame? She doesn't know China, so she looks her up on Google, and what does she find? I think that's a great point by Triple H. I think that maybe in a few years after it all passes over, eventually you could see China in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I think she does belong there, that's for sure. But again, respect due to Triple H for answering that question head on. And Stone Cold, I can't believe he asks these questions. I have to wonder if he actually lets them know, I might ask you something, about China, because that really had to blindside Triple H otherwise. But there's a couple of other points Triple H touched on. He talked about NXT and kind of how that is his brand. We already knew that, but really saying that, he doesn't have to go through Vince for any of that. And that really opens a lot of eyes as to, why isn't Triple H more involved, or why doesn't he have more authority, pun intended, on the main product, on Raw and SmackDown? Because he's doing an excellent job with NXT. NXT has gotten wildly successful reviews from everybody that's watched. And it's clear that he's definitely going to be the future of the main roster, and the future is definitely bright if that is the case, which I hope it is. He did kind of throw Vince under the bus there, saying, a lot of the decisions, that are made on the main roster are his. But he pointed out some stuff. Austin asked him, hey, what would happen, if you were in charge of Raw, what would you change? And Triple H immediately let out a big gasp and kind of like, wow, like he had a bunch of different stuff he would want to change. And everything he said, I was in total agreement with. First off, bringing Raw back down to 2 hours. That is something that has been talked about by people on the internet for years. And Austin and Triple H seem to be in agreement that that would be best for business. But Triple H did, mention that that's a Vince decision. And it really comes down to money and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily see that happening in the near future, especially with Vince at the helm. So 2 hours, it's not probably going to happen for a while at least. But it is nice to see that Triple H shares some of the same sentiments as the fans. It sounds like he listens to the fans a little bit more. And like you said, it's difficult to write that third hour of WWE programming, and it shows. There's a lot of filler material in there. Another thing Triple H said is he would add more time for the women, which is also another good point. A lot of people might disagree and say, I don't want to see more divas. The problem is we don't see a lot of great diva stuff because they're never given enough time. Take a look at NXT when these divas and these women wrestlers, I should say women, because I don't really care for the term diva. when the women are given the time in the ring, they can produce just as well, if not better, than some of the men. That Charlotte and Natalya match from the original NXT special event was amazing. One of the best matches of the year by far. And they continue to put on great matches. Charlotte's an excellent wrestler. Bayley, Sasha Banks, all intriguing characters down at NXT. And I think that upon their arrival to the main roster, they could do big things if they're given the time. If they're not given the time, it's just going to be more of the same stuff. I think Triple H knows that, and that showed in the interview with Austin. So, my question to you guys is WWE going to be better off with Triple H at the helm? At the Helmsley? Pun intended. I know you probably didn't laugh, but either way, I think so, and I think I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, again, in the comments below, or by tweeting us at Rope Break Wrestling. But really, the whole idea behind this week's Sharpshoot and talking about the whole Triple H podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin is kayfabe really dead? I would have to say so, and I don't necessarily think it's just because of the internet. I mean, the internet has a huge deal to do with that, and there was somebody on our Facebook page that mentioned that, the internet has ruined wrestling, and for many people, that's how they feel, and I can't necessarily disagree. But not only that, but it seems like WWE's approach, because of the internet, has completely changed. In the Attitude Era, we would have never seen a podcast or something like this where everything is revealed for everybody to see. Triple H is, completely broke character in the podcast and is basically acknowledging that there's a separance from, himself on TV and himself off TV. That's huge. That would have never been done in the past, and it's ironic because Triple H is, does carry the blame for the original, kayfabe death that happened in Madison Square Garden with the Clique, and the hug that happened there between them before Hall and Nash left for WCW. I don't think that kayfabe dying is necessarily a bad thing. I think you have to take things in stride and look at, how the different eras stack up and how things are changing. In the 80s, we saw more gimmicks. We saw more cartoony stuff. That was what was accepted then. Had you seen the Attitude Era stuff then, it wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have worked. Same thing with the 80s gimmicks in the Attitude Era. They didn't work. We went more to a reality-based television, and it did work. Now, we're in that reality era, or the podcast era, and, fans have smartened up. And WWE and Triple H definitely are taking notice of that. Triple H even said it on the podcast. Nowadays, fans know exactly what's going on. Fans know what's happening. They know that if somebody wins the Royal Rumble, it's because they're getting a push, not because they're really good. And if the fans don't dig it, then they don't dig it. They don't buy bullshit. So is kayfabe dead? Yes, it probably is. However, I don't necessarily think it's going to ruin the business or whatever. I think change is good in most cases, and we have to take it in stride. But again, your thoughts on that, always appreciated in the comments below or by tweeting us at Rope Break Wrestling. The Sharpshoot is back, baby. I had a great time with you guys this week. If you dug this episode of the Sharpshoot, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. Subscribe to Rope Break Wrestling here on YouTube. And share this video with your friends. That's the best thing you can do for me. If you do nothing else, please share with your friends. Let them know, hey, this Rope Break Wrestling page has got some good stuff. The Sharpshoot, I dig it. React After Raw, I dig it. And they do awesome giveaways and shit like that. Check us out on social media, facebook.com/Rope Break Wrestling. And, of course, on Twitter, at Rope Break Wrestling. All the handles and stuff like that are right here on the screen or in the description for you to check out. Please, again, consider donating on Patreon and becoming a patron of RopeBreakWrestling.com. Until next week, guys, enjoy this week's SmackDown. We'll see you next week on the Sharpshoot with Aussie.